And let's get to our study of harmony as we looked at last time. So let's make this big. Yeah, let's put it on like that. Okay. So harmony is based on what? We talked about intervals. So that octave or unison, octave, that means everybody's singing all the same note all at once. But then when we break out into harmony, it's based on intervals. And what is that beautiful interval that sounds harmonious to us?
The third.
The third, right. So we are basing almost all the music, they call it Western music, which is spread across the world. And so in general, most people, when they think about a church hymn, this is what they're going to be thinking about, and we'll be learning the basics of this kind of harmony. It's based on thirds. So you've got do, unison would be do, re would be the second, but then we skip up to the third. Do, re, mi. A third above that is sol. Okay, but remember, we start with the bottom. We call this the root, and then the third above that, and then the fifth above that. That's how we build a chord. Do, mi, so is our number one. Do, mi, so. Same thing here. Just a little review. Re. And then if we build on re, then we're going to skip over mi and go to fa. Skip over so and go to la. So that's our one chord here, our two chord, etc. Our three chord, four chord, five chord. Remember, we said that the root is usually in the bass. So whatever the root of the chord is, that means how we're building it on something. Whatever that root is that we started it with, so in this case, we started with do, that's going to be in the bass. Okay? And we also said that's a quick way to cheat. It doesn't always work. Every once in a while, you find out it's not exactly like that. But usually, and especially in songs in the songbook, you see a note in the bass. Usually, that is the chord. So I see a do. I'm probably going to see a one chord. Probably. Do in the bass. Probably going to see do, mi, so spread out over there somewhere. If I see a, let's go to 4. If I see a fa in the bass, then fa, la, so. Fa, la, do, sorry, fa, la, do. Right? I'm going to see that spread out somewhere up above here. That in the bass and that on top. If I see so in the bass, that's our fifth chord. So that's a 5. And so somewhere I will see so, ti, re, right? And we talked about it a little bit last time. Very often, it's usually right before the one chord, you will see that one, right? The 7th, so, ti, re, fa. We may not talk too much about that one today. I presented that last time, and we will again. But we're going to really focus on what's called triads, which means these 3 notes, your root that you start with, and then building on top of it. Also, we said that most songs in the songbook are happy, happy, joy, joy, which is fine. We have a lot of happy stuff to sing about, right? That's fine. So, but as we noticed, there are some chords that can bring seriousness, right? And those are the minor chords. Those are the ones that we see. And that's not to say that a song with all, major chords is not serious. But that, again, that feeling of drama and even pain, which is something that we sometimes want to express. These are very good at it, the minor chords. So the ones that we express with the small Roman numerals are the minor chords, and we will talk about them later. But right now, what are the only major chords in this scale that we're working with?
1, 4, 5.
1, 4, 5, right? And we write them with the big Roman numerals because that means they're the major ones, okay? Major having to do with that happy sound and a very harmonious sound. And that's bass, we said, Some of it is based on what we're used to, but a lot of it is just because God put those vibrations there. These notes are harmonious because the wavelengths match. It's a beautiful thing that we're not going to spend too much time talking about, but mostly we've just been listening to, getting used to just listening to. Okay. Today then I want to go to another window and start. Let's see, have I opened it? No. Excuse me while I mess around with my computer. I'm gonna go to another window and we are gonna start building chords. Just a second. Finale. All right, brand new one. Share screen. And here we go. So we got those. Let's go here and let's build some chords. Are you ready? Woohoo! Now, when we build a chord, we've already learned what's going to be at the base of it. And we've been learning how to recognize them in songs, but tonight we're going to talk about how to build them when you have them in your songs. So the first thing we said you want to do just to get the hang of this is to go through and put some bass notes in your song. And which bass notes did we say to put in?
Do, fa, and
Right. Do, fa,
so.
and so, right? Let me just pull that up again. The most important bass notes, right? Again, if you didn't get that, take a picture of it. The most important bass notes, do, fa, and so. And almost every song, unless it's in what we call a minor key or some unusual thing. Did anybody happen to find one, by the way? Remember I said, just start looking at all these songs and you'll see that they end on so, do, 5-1. Did anybody happen to find something different? Because there are some. And if you find them, we can talk about why they're there. But when you go looking for them, what you will find is it's not exactly like a needle in a haystack, but it's like finding a minor song in a haystack. most of it is 5, will end on 5-1, will end on so, do. Okay? So the most important chord, the one we're going to look at first, is chord number 1, do, mi, so. So if I'm going to build that chord, once again, what will we have in the bass?
Do.
Do, of course, right? So let's put a do here. And then the next question is, what do I have in, and actually that's already come first, what do I have in the melody? So you've already written your melodies. A few people still haven't given them to me, so give me your melodies. But most have written your melodies, so you already have your melodies. So you're gonna look at the note that's on the top there, and right now I'm looking at all just ones that would fit in the one chord. So if I have a do up here, right? My next question is, I'm going to start working down instead of up. What is, and let me see if I can go to this. All right, this is probably the best way to look at it. So matter of fact, let's put it side by side. Does that look more or less side by side for everybody? Okay, so this is do, right? Here's do. If I go down, what is the next note that I will find that is in that one chord, do, mi, so?
T.
T is not in, okay, and let me keep calling
Do.
that one out. T is not in the one chord. Okay, so you're right, T is the next note down in the scale, but I'm looking for the next note. I'm gonna build this chord only do, mi, so. That's all I want in it. So if I start with the
That's
do,
me.
I'm gonna work my way down. What is the first note that I will find that belongs in that chord?
It's me, right?
No, we're gonna run into one before we get to me. I'm starting do up here and I'm going down. And it's right there. Okay, sol is one of the notes. So I started here on do. I'm going to go down T, la. I'll do it this way, do, right? Ti, la, and so is one of those notes that belongs in the chord. And I've just made harmony. Okay, it's not what we call filled in yet, but it is harmony. It's more than one note, and it matches. It goes along with the one chord, right? What note is missing?
Me.
Me, okay? And there's only one voice I have left to put it in. And this is why I say that when you start writing harmony, it's like putting together a puzzle, right? And you're looking for the pieces that are there and the pieces that are missing. So I had my bass, do. I had my melody, do. Now I've gone down to the alto to add what came next. And now I need to go down to what voice? What's the only voice that's missing?
Tenor.
Have we talked much about this? I think we did. Yeah, we did way back with the very beginning. Is everybody comfortable understanding the four voices, like where they are? Bass, tenor, alto, soprano. Let me know if we need to go over that. Did we need to go over that at all? Anybody? It's fine if we do. Okay, so let's just do. I'll do that by adding the tenor, and then we'll let you know. So most people know then, and that will give you the idea. The tenor, we're going to go down here, okay? And this note is about there on the bass clef, so I have to go down even further. And if you want to know where it is, you can find out. I'll just type it in, and aha, that's where the sol is, down here, right? So I want to take that note and actually move it down. I forget how to do that in finale. I'm just gonna write it. So I'm gonna move it down from there. So, fa, mi. Okay. Now if we look at that chord, it's what we call full. It's filled in, right? What are the notes that I have? What are the three notes we have here?
Do, mi, sol.
Do, mi, sol. Okay. And it fits into that chord, do, mi, sol. That's what we're looking. We're mostly looking at that today, do, mi, sol. And then real quick, to let you know, during a song, almost every syllable, again, this is way back at the beginning of the melody class, so maybe we didn't cover it enough. You might want to go back and watch it. If anybody wants to, let me know. I'll help you with that one. But the bottom notes here are the guys, usually. Top notes are the girls. The very top note is the melody, right? The very bottom note is the bass. And in between, you have the two voices. The men who sing higher are called tenors. And then the women who sing lower are called altos. Okay, so we have four voice harmony. This is bass, tenor, alto, soprano. If you want to follow the melody, you follow the top notes. If you want to follow the bass, you follow the bottom notes, right? And that's what we've been trying to learn since the beginning. First of all, learn to follow the melody on top. Now that we're doing harmony, learn to follow the bass. And then learn to put the puzzle pieces together. That's what we're doing, right? And when you watch a song, hopefully you're starting to get to where you can see do, mi, sol, like we said. Start with the one chord. Get to where you can see it. Almost always the ending. Look for it. You should be able to see it. And just get used to that. So you may not be able to see all the pieces of the puzzle, but start recognizing some. I know where that one is, right? We're working on the puzzle. These are the pieces I know how to fit together. And then we'll work on fitting some more. So right now we just fit these together, and let's just play it real quick just for the fun of it. We made a major chord. You know, let's go backwards and listen to it without that. Will it let me undo? No. All right. So let's go backward and listen to it like this. What are we going to get? What are we going to hear when we play this?
Unison.
Nice note. Okay. Then when we went down, we went to so. And this is going to give us that open sound. And what's missing is the third. We don't have a single third there. There's not a third there. That's why this is called a very open sound. But when I put in the mi, that's the only note missing there, then we're going to have that complete harmony sound. Okay? One other thing we mentioned is that sometimes, and especially in this case, this note right here is getting pretty low for the altos. Pros will be able to sing it no problem, but it's not always for sure, and you rarely see anything below this in the songbook for altos. So already it's getting kind of low. So a lot of songs will not include this note at all. And so remember, we did say that sometimes you will see this. Let's analyze that chord there. What do we have? We have, where's my tools? There we go. We have the bass, do, the tenors, mi, and then what's going on up here?
They're together in one.
This is,
The
they're singing that
soprano.
sopranos and altos are singing do. And something we did say is that the character of a major chord will still be there if you leave out the fifth, if you leave out the so. So we've got do, mi, do. And if you listen to it, it sounds very similar, just not quite filled out. And that's very common at the end of a song. So just, you have to know that every once in a while this will happen. And in this case, it will happen a lot because we're down so far with this note on the soprano already below the staff, then sometimes, a lot of times actually, you'll just have the altos double up here. Okay? Let's go to our next possibility. What if I had, once again, we're going to look at a one chord, but what if my note in the melody was mi? So I'm going to go down from mi. And again, we're working backwards. What is the next note down from mi that belongs in a one chord? So we've got mi, re,
do.
do. Okay, that belongs. So I'm going to put that right there in the altos. All right. What's the only missing voice?
Tenor.
Tenor. Okay. So you might have to play with it a little bit. Again, I know where I'm going, but you might play with it. You put in this note, you're like, oh, that's a do. No, that's not what I wanted. You want to go from do and go down, do, ti, la, and then what comes next? So, and that matches the chord. So now if we look at this chord, we're going to find out that it's full, right? Do you see do, mi, so? It's all there, right? Okay, and the root is in the bass. We're building it on do, mi, so. So the root is in the bass. All right, next one, we'll keep doing this. Do in the bass. What if we have a so up here? So let's see if we're getting used to this. I would go down until I find the note that belongs in this chord. What belongs in this chord? Mi, okay? All right. And then in the tenor, what note would I put? Try and we're going to talk about other possibilities now, but try and put 3 different notes in the top 3 voices. Try and, so remember, do, mi, so. So I've got mi, so here. What's missing down here in the tenor? What do I want to put in the tenor?
Do.
Do, that's the next note down, right? So I was on mi, and we go re. And again, I know it may take a little while for you guys to find it. You might want to be taking pictures of this as we go, again, or look at the video. To get used to, there's like a little gap here between the alto and the tenor. I'm not going to go too much into how to find it, but once you find that note, you know where we are. So what do we have here?
The one chord.
One chord. Okay. Now, from there, I'm going to introduce you to one more possibility. Okay. And this possibility is I'm going to have the same thing. And always possibilities makes it easier later on to put together the puzzle in the way that we like it. Different options, right? So let's say I've got the same thing. Do's in the bass. So is in my melody. All right. The other option is to skip over this first note. So I went from so to me, right? But I'm going to skip over that. So I've got so, and I'm going to skip over the me, right? I'm working my way down. So let's see, here's so, fa, mi. That would work, but I'm going to skip over it and go to the next note that belongs. Re, do. Okay, so now I will put that in. Okay, so now what note is missing?
Me again.
Me.
Mi is missing. And we're going to use the same method. If I am here on do, and that do is right here in the tenor, I'm going to go down ti, la, so, but I'm going to skip over it, and then go down fa, mi. And now I have a full chord. Okay. For just a second, I want you to just ignore the bass. The bass is the root. Have you noticed it's staying the same all the way through? Oh man, I did all that in layer 2. Oh great, it's gonna be fun. Was that okay? I just want to get rid of the bass for a little bit so we can look at it. Okay, so for those notes, I want you to notice that what we have on top is a triad. What notes do we have here?
Do, mi, so.
Do, mi, so. And they're as close as possible. Remember when we went down, we found the closest one possible that would fit. Same thing here. What do we have here? What are the three notes we have? Do, mi, so. I started here and I went down and I found the closest one possible. Now here I introduce you to one other option, which is to skip over one, right? So I went to the second closest one possible. And what do we have here again in these three notes?
Do, mi, so.
Do, mi, so. Okay. Once you start skipping too much, then it doesn't work anymore. So like, let's say if I have so, and then down here, that's where I ended up. Okay. And I'm going to go down to the third note possible. Look what happens. It doesn't work very well. So I've got so right here, right? And then I'm going to go down so, fa, mi. Skip over that. Re, do. Skip over that. What's the next one coming up? Anybody know?
So again, right?
So again. So wait a minute. What do I have going on here now?
Unison.
Unison, right? So this is not going to get me harmony. To make this work, I'm going to have to go all the way down. So, fa, mi. And this, once you get this big skip that is bigger than an octave, it usually does not sound very harmonious. It's too big. Okay? So that is why we usually don't go that far with this concept we've got. We only go from teaching you how to put harmony on a note. On the melody, you go down to the next note, down to the next note. Same thing here. So go down to the next one that fits, down to the next one that fits. But this is slightly different. It's slightly more spaced out. We call this voicing. Same notes, basically same feeling, but it gives me another option. Okay? And I got rid of the bass notes so that you could see what all this looks like. Let's go back and put in those bass notes. Okay. And that's what gives it its full feeling, the root on the bottom. And let's, you know what, let's listen to it without the bass just so you can, there we go again, just so you can hear what it sounds like without the bass. I'll start here so that we can hear what those sound like without the bass. Now, how would you describe the difference between this one and this one? Did you notice there's a big difference? Same note on top, but you get a very different feel. So let me just start again. Why don't I just play these two together, starting there. How would you describe the difference?
The second one feels more final to me.
Okay. I'm not sure I would know exactly what word to use, but it's different, right? It gives you a different option. And later on, when we're fitting puzzle pieces together, it really helps me to know if I can either use this puzzle piece or this puzzle piece. Does that make sense? Later on, when we want to fit it together with another chord, I have a couple options. I can use this shape or I can use this shape. Going to make it very helpful. All right, let's get those bass notes in there. And then we'll hear what it sounds like with the bass. From the beginning. All right. And next, I'm going to go up here. What if I were already all the way up here? Bring me down here. All the way up here to do. Okay? So let's use our two methods. First of all, going from do, if do were the melody, I'm going to go down until the next note that belongs in the chord. What would be the next note going down? Do, ti, la, so. Okay? And then I would go down to the next note here. This happens to be your so, way up here. We're going to go down, oops, so, fa, mi, and that will fill in the chord. So now I have this complete chord here, right? Now the tenor's starting to get a little high, okay? It's still a common note in the tenor, this one right here, but it's starting to get a little high. So what is another way that I could do this? If I have the exact same thing, bass down here, soprano, do, I can start going down but skip over one note, remember? So ti, la, so, that works, but I'm going to skip over it. Fa, mi. Okay? Then down here, if I'm on mi, I've got to go down re, do, skip over that one. And what am I looking for? What's the note we need to fill it in?
So.
So these are two. What's that?
Sorry, I have a question. You said this is called voicing. Is it called voicing when you skip more than one, or is this whole process called voicing?
So what voicing means is where we put the notes of the chord.
Okay.
That's all. So
cool.
Yes, the whole thing, right? That has a different voicing than that one. So these are two possible voicings for that chord. And notice the bass and the melody are the same thing. These are two possible ways that I can put together this puzzle that sound nice. Let's go ahead and listen to it. Measure 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, I think it's measure 6. Let's try it. Okay. Yeah, I like that one as a final chord. But sometimes this works. Kind of depends on how we were getting there. That's what happens a lot in harmony, how we get there. Okay, we're almost done. We are at the highest note usually that you would see in a soprano for this do chord in this key that we're working in. Mi, right? Okay. what would be the next way? You go down. Mi. Go down to the next note. Re. Do.
Do.
Okay. And then, oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to put in the bass. Still will be the root. And then way down here, what's the note that's missing?
So.
So that's where the so would be in the tenor. That's kind of getting in the stratosphere for the tenor. I can do it no problem, but not everybody can. I'm a high one. Okay. So you will occasionally see this note in songbooks, but not much. Yes, Abigail?
Yeah, so I have a question, which you're probably going to answer very soon, but so if you wanted to keep going with that, couldn't you just put the so down an octave? Like, would that still fill out the chord?
So let's take a look at that. So first of all, let's use our other method, and then we'll look at that. Okay. So, well, actually, let me answer that really quickly. Okay. So if I were to put me, so all this stuff, and then I put this so down here, it's going to sound very, very wide. Let's just play that again. 6, 7, 8, 9. Doesn't sound too bad, but it works better with instruments than it does with voices. There's going to be a lot of extra room here, and the more you do this, the more you separate. For now, we're not going to do much of that. There may be moments when it's good to do that, but the more you separate, usually the less harmonious it sounds. Usually these three notes on top, we want them pretty close. So our other way of doing it would be, let's do our other way. And by the way, once again, are these Bible rules? No, do what you want. Put another note in there if you want. Right? There's no Bible rule about this. If you find something that sounds great, go for it, right? So, but we're just giving you the general rules that will make it come out sounding nice every time. And then actually a lot of times the real fun stuff is when you find something that breaks the rules a little bit because it's not a Bible rule. It's okay to break if it's not a Bible rule. And you find something fun. All right, but let's go to this next one. We've got me. We go down, re, do, but I'm going to skip over that one. Ti, la, so. Okay. And then I will go down to the next one below so. What's the next one below so? What needs to fill in the chord here? The top three should be 3 different notes. We're trying for that.
Do.
Do. Okay. So now we have a complete chord here, right? Do, mi, so. Okay, let's listen to the difference between these two. They almost sound the same, right? And this is a lot more comfortable, way comfortable, because the tenor is down here, right? This is a very common chord. You'll see this one a lot. Okay? So let's listen to everything really quick. It's all the same chord. We're actually going to get about the same feeling from everything, but it's different ways to do it. Okay. Let me just point out something real quick, something that you might get a lot. And I'm going to change to a different key for it just so we can see this. Because remember, depending on what key you change into, we'll work on that more later, but that will change where the do is. So let me just write out a chord really quick. And actually, let me take a little time to fill it in so you can see. Okay, so I have do in the bass, so on top, right? And I'm going to, let's do the skip version. So let me go from this note, so, fa, mi, skip it, la, do. Following so far? What's the note that's missing? What do I need to fill in the tenor?
Me.
Me. Okay? Got it. Now, I'm going to do the same thing, but this time, and actually, you know what? I'm going to add a different note in the, melody. Okay, and this time, I'm going to use the next one down. And this happens a lot. What happens here is this shows you how the puzzle pieces work together sometimes. I've got the same note in the bass. I've got the same note in the alto. But what happens here with my soprano and my tenor? Can you see what happens?
Contrary motion.
That is correct. They're moving in two different ways, contrary motion. And if you notice, they change places. It's a great trick. So here, this is so, mi, right? And this is tenor I have, mi, so. You see the trick? So sometimes we call this something like a scissors, right? It's a great trick. I've got the same chord, but because I moved somewhere else, I'm just trading places. Let me just throw in a couple more chords here, and then I'm going to put a sol here. And I'm actually going to build, this will be the last thing we do for our break here, I'm going to build a 5 chord. Does anybody remember what the 5 chord is? Let's go back and look at it really quick. What is your 5 chord?
So terrible.
So ti re. Okay.
Oh yeah.
So
Then
I've
fa.
got in the bass I have sol. I have re here. So let's work my way down, find the next one I need. Do, ti. That's in the chord, right? Okay. And then what do I need to fill in the chord? What needs to be
So
right?
fa.
So ti re is the chord. And I have ti, I have re. So what's the one that I'm missing here?
So re.
So,
Yeah, it's sol. Sol is the
So
one that I'm missing. So I'm gonna need to fill that in. Okay, can everybody see that this is a 5 chord here? So I have 1, 1, 5. And let me just add a few more quick 1 chords. For a time, I won't build them all, but I'll just make it myself really quick. And once again, I'm going to play that trick. We've got do in the bass, do in the alto, but what happens here on top in the soprano? Mi, so, mi, and what happens down here? In the tenor? So, look at the top notes. Can you see the top notes? So,
mi.
mi, so. Okay? So we play that trick again. This is all the one. But I find, this is what I mean, puzzle pieces. We find as different ways. Let me play this for you really quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Measure 11. Let me play this for you really quick. No, measure 11. Is that wrong one? Maybe I'm wrong. 12. Let's try again. Anybody? Familiar?
Uh-huh.
What is it?
Oh, precious is the flow that makes me
Oh,
wet.
precious is the flow. Right. Okay. And what I want you to notice here, there's a lot of this. This is that puzzle piece stuff. And this is what makes some of this kind of harmony interesting. Is sometimes you've got tenor or different parts singing exactly the opposite of what the melody is singing. And there's a reason for that, right? What's going on here? This is puzzle piece stuff. When that one went up there to fill it in, one of my tricks is to go down there. This version of the chord is the close one, where everything is really fit close together, right? Mi, do, so. But this is the spaced out version here, where we have so, do, and then all the way down to mi. And it works really well for the puzzle. I'll just give you one other option that would, well, for time, I won't. I just leave it there. It's really a great sound. And it's because of you're able to use these different kinds of puzzle pieces. You know what? I want you to hear the other possibility. Let me just write it out for you real quick. And I think it just wouldn't be as interesting. This would be the other possibility. If we were to do the close version. It might work. Depends on the kind of harmony you're going for. Let's listen to it. Can you hear the difference? Here it jumps up. Precious is the flow. And here we get the contrary motion where it goes up and down. It's a little trickier. Oh, precious is the flow. Oh, precious is the flow. Which one do you like better? You know, for me,
I like the first one.
you like the first one? Well, we've heard it a lot, haven't we? It's obvious what the author liked. And yet, if I'm writing my own song, I could choose which one. And that's where we start to get into this puzzle piece, building block. I'm putting the building blocks together and I can decide. And first of all, we look for what works smoothly. We'll talk about that in a minute. And then we start building together. Any questions on this so far? This is what you do when you have, I've only showed one chord so far, but this is what you do when you have soprano, bass, and then you decide how to fill it in. Any questions about that so far? Good? Okay, then we're well beyond our break. Hopefully everybody's wide awake. Anybody switch time zones? Did you switch time zones, Brother Benjamin?
No, but it's still late for me.
That's right. Some of you guys are late anyway. That's right. So awesome that you guys hang in there with us. All right, so we'll take a little over 5 minutes maybe, and then let's see, you want to be back at about 20, whatever that is for you, whatever the hour is, and 20. All right, see you guys in just a little bit.